Hi, I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. Today I'm going to provide a rules overview and review of Catan Dice game. It's ages 7 and up, 1 to 4 players, and it takes 15 minutes. Let me show you how to play. For Island 1, the goal of the game is to get the most points. And you get points by building roads, settlements, cities, and knights. But the trick is everyone, the scorecards are identical, but everyone starts at the same point on the map where there's an arrow across a road, which is saying that it's already been built for you. And then you can build settlements and roads and so on, but the trick is you have to do it in sequential order. This settlement is worth 3, and you have to build that before you build the next settlement, which is worth 4, and then the next one's 5, and 7, and 9. Same thing with the cities. You have to build the roads to the city here in order to build it, which is worth 7, and you have to have built that one before you build the one that's worth 12, and then 20 and 30. So let me show you how gameplay works. To get started, it does not matter which player goes first because you are going to mark down your points for each round that you roll the dice in these little boxes, and so everyone gets the same number of turns. So we'll go ahead and say this player goes first, and they roll the dice. We'll just have them here. Okay, we'll do a real roll. And you get to roll the dice up to 3 times, and you can save a few dice and then re-roll others. If you choose, you can re-roll some of the ones that you've already saved, but after your 3rd roll, the round is over. You're done rolling, and you get to use these dice to build on your sheet. They have a very handy reference for what it takes to build each of these items, and it corresponds to the image on the board. So that part is very simple. They have what they need to build a road here, and when we play, we go ahead and we just draw in that spot. That's the only thing they have here, and so they would get just 1 point for this round, and then it would be the other person's turn. However, there are a few other things that can happen. If they had gotten these resources here, that would match what you would need for a knight, and they also would have been able to fill in this spot right here. For the knights, you don't have to have the roads right by them in order to build them. You have to have the roads leading up to settlements and cities, but for knights, if they had rolled a knight on this turn and not this, they could have filled in the knight, and then the next time they got to go, you can get 2 knights. You could fill in a knight here and here. You can go all the way around the board, and you don't have to have the roads leading to it just yet. So that is key. They can, even though it's leading to this settlement, it is okay to build a road. You can build roads way ahead of where you've built settlements. You don't have to build a couple roads. It doesn't block you or anything like that to build a road and then have a settlement. You don't have to worry about that. But in order to build the settlement, you do have to have a road up to it. They could build this road, this road, this road, and then the next few times fill in the settlements. It's just the order that matters. Sometimes you don't get anything, you roll and you have nothing, then you do an X on a spot, and that's worth -2 points at the end of the game. And the only other really big thing to know here is there are gold resources. You can still trade in this, just like Settlers of Catan, but it is only gold that you trade, and it's for whatever resource you want. And the phrasing's a little funny in the rules, how they say to do it. So if you wanted to have this be an additional wood at the end of your turn, what the rules say you're supposed to do is you're supposed to flip one of these over to the wood side to show, but usually we're playing pretty quickly and we just say, okay, these 2 gold I'm counting as a wood, and then you fill it in and pass on the dice. So as long as you're using the resources appropriately, then you're fine. I'm going to have this player go, and we'll have them show what it means to use the resource joker that goes along with getting a knight. I'm going to make it so that they almost have a knight. Let's see what they do. They'll go ahead and save a gold and see if they can use that to trade. And ooh, they got 2 golds, but sure, they'll roll again. Oh, they got another set of golds, but they're not going to be able to use that for anything, and that's okay. So here, they can use these. They're going to build a knight, which takes an ore, grain, and wool in order to do that. So they're going to trade these in for a sheep for their wool and fill in that spot on the board. Now, according to the rules, you can use this immediately. Sometimes you get one of these. If this was later in the game and they had gotten this resource over here, and so they had another wood, and we'll say they had rolled a couple bricks, then they could, if it was later in the game, they filled in this knight, which gave them this wood resource joker, then they could use it right away and say, oh, good, I want to change one of these into a wood, and then I'm able to use it right away. You are able to save and use these resource jokers you get for getting knights at any point of the game. You don't have to use it right away. You can wait and use it all in one turn if you really want to. The only trick is it has to be a 1-for-1. You have to have a die available to use for it. So these aren't bonus in addition to your other die. You can't get further on in the game and have filled out a few of these and say, oh, I have a free settlement because I've gotten what I need to. So in addition to all of these, I'm also going to build a settlement from these. Whatever you use here has to be represented on the dice that you have rolled. Here are a couple of examples of what the end of a game might look like. This was my best game I've played for a while. I got 92 points. As you can see, I did not need to use all of my resource jokers. The question mark one, when you get that, you can use that as whatever resource you would like, which is pretty great. And over here, I crashed and burned and only got 56 points at the end. Please note, I could have built this city that's worth 20 points even without building the 5 and 7 point settlements along the way. I just didn't get the right rolls. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and show the Island 2 rules, which is very similar to Island 1 with just a few variations. On this side, you win by being the first to getting to 10 points, just like in regular Settlers of Catan. The first player, it's whoever gets to 10 points first. So the first player only gets to roll 3 dice. The second person to roll gets 4 dice. Then the next person to go gets 5. And then finally you have all 6 dice in play. And then everybody has 6 dice to roll for the remainder of the game. Gameplay for Island 2 starts much the same as gameplay for Island 1. Everyone must start at the same point with the arrow leading where there's already a road built. But here you do not get any points for roads or for knights. You just get points for your settlements and cities. And here, if you build roads, you can build your settlements in any order that you like. So you are not required to build this settlement first. You could build this settlement first if that's how it worked out. And it really comes into play more when getting to the cities because a lot of times you'll forego these 2 spots because you were trying to get longest road. Incidentally, longest road, they say it's when you get 5 roads long, then that person has the longest road. So they say you have this one to start. So you have a gimme of 1, then it's 2, 3, 4, and they have this shaded in, but it's not a gimme. That's just an indicator that when you get to the spot and you fill it in, then whoever gets there and fills in that spot first would have the longest road, at which point they get to do a check mark here to indicate that they have that spot. So you are going along, and then in order to have the longest road, if this person was able to build, here, they start here, build road, 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 they built this. In order for them to get the longest road, they have to have it 1 further than you, then they get the check mark, and you are supposed to cross that off because you no longer have that. So in terms of marking points, if this player is able to get this settlement, and it's the same things for building, it's the same grid on this side that's telling you what you should get. So if they get these 4 resources and are able to build a settlement, then you just shade in one of these boxes to indicate that you have a point. If you're able to build a road and have a city, you get to fill in 2 for having an additional 2 points there. The resources for the knights, you can fill in whatever one you want. If you roll the 3 items you need to have a knight, you can pick any one of these knight spots. So it doesn't have to start over here. It could be all the way over here. You want to have a wood available to you at some point to use. So you can do any one you want in any order. They don't give you points until you have 3 of them. Whoever has 3 first gets to do a check mark. So we'll just say here, they got 3, and it can be whatever order. Yes, I see that there are 2 here. I'll show you what that is in a second. So they have 1, 2, 3. So they'd have the largest army. Do a check mark here. For that, you don't fill it in over here because then you'd have to erase them. You just have them in here, and then if they get later enough in the game and they get to here and there's just 2 spots left, then you know that you've won. With here, so the same thing with using the resources. You have to have a die to represent it. You can't just use these as bonuses later on. The question marks, you have to have 2 filled in order to be able to use a freebie resource of your choice on one of these dice. So that's it. Whoever gets to 10 points first is the winner. So that's how to play Catan Dice game. The target demographic for this game is it is a family game, but it is specifically geared for those who have played Settlers of Catan and really liked it, but want something that's a little more compact and a shorter game experience, which is me. So I was very excited to get to play this game because I've played a lot of Catan, and so this was very fun for me. The rule complexity for this game is medium. There were a few kind of funny worded bits in the rules section that took a few read-throughs, but the game itself is not at all tricky, and if you play with somebody who already knows how to play, it's going to be very easy to get up and running. It's just your first time through. If you're reading through the rules, some things are worded kind of strangely is all, but the actual gameplay, easy for both Island 1 and Island 2. Once you have one, you can play both very easily. How competitive is this game? It's medium competitive. It's the highest score wins. However, I would like to say that on Island 1, there is 0 interaction between whoever is playing. You are just rolling the dice and resolving them as best you can. So you're mostly competing against yourself. So nothing that anybody else is doing is impacting you, which really alleviates hurt feelings when people play. Nobody can do anything negative to you. On Island 2, there is limited. It's still mostly rolling the dice and resolving on your own. There are a few places where people interact, but again, it's just longest road and largest army, and people take those, but it compete for those. But it's not anything. It's not like in the original Settlers of Catan where people are stealing some of your resources or trading with you. Much more limited interaction. The replay value for this game is medium to high. I would say it is high if you are a big fan of Settlers of Catan and are excited to have a shorter version of the game that is still for adults. We've played a lot of Catan Junior, which I love. It is great, but it is very much for children. It is a children's game, and so if I'm playing a game with other adults, I would reach for this instead. And we have been. We are going to have to laminate some of our scorecards because we've been going through so many. I like both sides. I like both Island 1 and Island 2, but between the two, I feel like Island 1 is a more interesting gameplay for me. So that's what we've been playing the most of, but I do really like both. If you like this and are looking for similar games, I would suggest Struggle for Catan. It is a card game short version of Settlers of Catan. And then if you like dice games like this, Roll and Rights, Railroad Inc. is so good and it is so well done. And we have just been playing it on repeat as well. So if this you realize, oh goodness, I like rolling the dice and figuring out what to do with them, Railroad Ink is one of the best ones out there and you should check it out. But we have been loving Catan Dice and I hope you check it out. Thanks and see you next time from Game Like a Mother.